Hello, everyone. It's the Alchemical Crafter here. I hope you're having a great day. May is just around the corner, so it's time for me to make a new daily journal. I am doing the grocery bag method again because I really do enjoy it. It's very simple and very easy to do. But I am just going to be coming in and out, so I'll be explaining it along the process. It's a rather long process, but it's definitely enjoyable to do. So I'm gonna just let this continue playing. We'll play music when I don't need to be talking about what I'm doing, and I will be jumping back in when I do. So I really hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next time. So what I'm gonna do since that's the inside now, I always like to make these little folds on the bag to be the back of the journal. I don't think it matters, but that way my front cover is flat. So what I'm going to do is glue both sides of this. What I did is I used my tacky glue and I watered it down so you can see it's very, very, bleh. And I always make a mess when I use this stuff. So I'm gonna do both sides and then I'm gonna let it dry. And then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna sew. You really just want this kind of thin. It's all you're doing is, oh, that's not, I think that's even, this is way more watered down than this is. I really want it even thinner. It should just glide on. I think I've been letting that sit out for a little bit because I was doing other things. I get distracted very easily. Do you guys get distracted? Can't tell you how many times I'm like 4 steps into 5 different projects and I forget what I'm doing on half of them. Lesson learned. We're going to do the other side with much less glue to start with. You know what? Close enough, I say. Okay. What I forgot to get is my bone. It doesn't have to stick too much because I'm going to sew the outside. Okay, this side should go much easier. I'm just doing this much. I can see part of that, but I am not going to glue that. Because we'll explain later, but and that's how simple it's supposed to be. That's the difference between gluing a lot in the beginning and a little. So, lesson learned. Nope, I didn't want to do that. Of course, it really doesn't matter on this side because it's the front of the book. I just don't want to glue. Well, I don't know what I'm talking about. Ignore me. It's not going to matter because it's the edge. The edge can be glued. is just so pretty. And I'm not really a big fan of orange, but I don't know. Sometimes when it just pops, you just can't get any better than that. This, I definitely don't want to get glue on that because I don't want this end to glue together because I want a pocket back here. Now we're supposed to make this dry before I sew the edges, so I'm gonna have to go away for a little bit. Y'all don't have to though, but before I do, okay, so I had to go watch her video again, and because she's revamped it throughout the years. But what I'm thinking about doing is doing the pocket on the back. So when I cut this down, I cut this part off. So I have this, which is going to be long enough to make a little pocket, I think. So here, and there's the flap. And there'll be a closure there on that. And this will have the nice little stuff on the front. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to sew all this, and I will bring it back to you when I'm done and show you all the sewing. What I'm going to do, I'm going to sew all of this around the edges and probably right here, just so I can so I can see that on the inside. I think it'll look nice. And it's all decorative because it's already been glued. And then I'm going to this either needs to go on this side glued down. Actually, it didn't even have to. I always glue it down because I'm paranoid of things getting caught in it. And either go on this side, which is probably what I'm going to do, because then the flap will get glued over it, and you won't ever feel it. But so I'm gonna you know what? I'm gonna do that right now so I don't forget. Be careful on the inside. You don't want glue where it's not supposed to be because you don't want it glued down. So, so I'm going to glue that. I'm going to sew that. And then I'm going to sew this to here. And I'm on this side, obviously. And then I'm going to sew this to here because I want to keep this side open. And then I'm going to sew both things together. This side, and this side. And so all of this will be closed except for this. So I'm going to let this dry. I'll do the sewing and I'll be right back. Tomorrow for me, in a few seconds for you. Okay, so I sewed these, and this is my first time ever doing this, and I made some huge errors, but I could have just wiped this whole video and started over, but I decided I'm going to keep it because it's a learning process, and I can look back on this, and hopefully in the future, my future ones look so much better, and this will just remind me that I've grown. So I'm going to show you my errors now. That's just a minor one. That I'm fine with. But I decided to do some, and I didn't draw lines. Here's why you draw lines. I was trying to follow this, and obviously that did not work. And see how these things happened? I don't know what happened, because normally when that happens, the bobbin on the bottom runs out of thread, but it had thread. So I'm going to call user error. I think either I used the wrong needle, because I think this is more like embroidery, but I was using a thicker needle because of the material. So I think I just need to not do these, but I really liked the little bumblebee. It was cute. These were supposed to be flowers, but what I could do is cover that up. And I may eventually, but as of now, I'm gonna keep it. I like the reminder. And this side's gonna be covered up because I'm doing where I'm gonna put more cloth in on top of it. Not this piece, obviously, it's too small, but on top of it, and that's where I'm gonna sew my signatures into that. But my second issue was here. So I measured this to the width of the thing, and what I should have done if I was doing it that way was to sew it in, sew this first, and then lay it in and sew the edges, because now, y'all probably already know, it doesn't fit. So I can either scrap this and start over, which that's such a waste of everything, but I'm gonna do. Probably not the ideal situation, but I'm gonna chip it in. I'm gonna angle these sides, and I don't think I'm gonna need to resew because I have these and glue. So, and that's gonna be on the inside, so nobody's gonna see it. Yeah. So I'm gonna do that with you guys. And this is where my fold is, so it has to start there. I may have to angle it more, but right now we're just going to do that. Okay, so that is where it needs to be. So I think ideally, which is what she did, and I thought, why not do them at the same time? Well, this is why. You could do them at the same time, just measure it better than I did. So it's gonna have that weird thing there at the edge. Well, that one did a little bit better. Maybe I can get this one in further. No, we're just gonna have the weird thing. Okay, so now I'll take my, this is my watered down PVA glue. Okay, so I went back and I did redo this one, and see, it messed up again. I've got to get used to my sewing machine. So I have all these little holes there, but I'm fine with that. The reason I replaced this one, it was the one that was at a strong angle, and this is actually the front of the journal. So I was like, oh, I would rather have the little dots there than the really dark black. So a lot of stuff's going to be going on the front page, so that's going to cover most of this. But that's that. I do have some buttons that I think I've chosen these buttons that I'm going to, I don't know, they may not go so well, but I got all these new buttons that are really colorful. And that's what I'm going to use for closures on this. But I am going to do the hidden spine. So I need, normally if I just went straight through the thing, I could just use this as my template, but since I'm doing it inside, I need to make one of these. Last time I actually had one already made up for myself, so I was like, it was really nice. But this time I don't. So I need to create a new one of these. I think because the template I made actually should be longer than this, because this is, the reason being, this is the size of the signatures, and I really needed to make the template the size of the journal. So the journal is down here, and so I really need like another inch or so. So I'm going to do that. I'll show you the signatures later. Because I'm going to have to pierce them. Okay, so first we need to decide how big this was. So it was 8.5, well, the 8.5 was the length, but I want to add, I think I want to add, not a full inch, I think that's too much, but maybe like to 9, so I think I want to make it 9 for the length. This is just it's one of those inserts in a thing, so it's a little stronger, so let me cut that edge off. So I want to make this 9. And the length, I think, is fine. That took it to the 6 here, I think. That's what we're going to do. So that's 9, and make this 6. Oops, this way. always think backwards. So this should be the same across and just a little bit longer. I don't know. Maybe I should have made it a little longer. We may cut a second. I don't need it going all the way up. You know what? We're going to call this good. So what I need to do, I'm trying to remember how this was done. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. Was this done in inches or centimeters? It was done, it's cut in inches. But I think the centimeters are 1.5 centimeters wide. I see that now. Okay. And what about the length? And 3 centimeters wide. Let's do it this way first. So starting at the 14, 15.5, right? So I made them a little bit smaller. But I'm going to go with that because it's my daily journal and I don't tend to fill it up as much as I do my other journals. I am going to use this since I kind of screwed it up a little bit. I'm going to use it in this journal. So, how many things are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can start in the center. So we go to 9. Yeah, we can mark on this. It doesn't matter. 9, 4.5 is the center. You know what? I don't even have to mark it because this is what we're doing. And what did I say? It was every... Yeah, every 3 centimeters. So we're going to start at the 10. Now, I'm going to get my awl out. And so where there's an intersection on those lines that I just did, we are going to punch a hole, and that becomes my guide. I also need to mark, I think I can do it with this. So I need to mark 8 1/4. And so that makes that, between those lines, is 8 1/2, and that's the size of my signature. We're going to call this the top. Okay. It will all make sense. If you don't know what I'm doing, it'll all make sense when I start doing it. So I'm going to punch holes at all the intersections now. Yet, I'm making binding books is one of my favorite, well, the journals anyway. It's fun for me. I like doing it. But I have my 4 signatures. There's approximately 10 pages in each. I didn't count the doilies because, you know, they're really not much to them. But I'm going to do one of these signatures with you. I'm going to do the rest off screen because it's boring to watch, I would assume. So what you want to do is go through and make sure all the pages are exactly where you want them. Like if I wanted this lower, or in fact, I tend to do the pockets down here for some reason. I can't get out of the habit of that. So I'm going to start moving some of the things higher to make the journal more balanced. Really want this. Oh, it's already creased though. I like it when they go opposite directions. I really want this one going. I might be able to do it with this one. There. I like that. Now, and this is August. I don't know how important it is, but I'm of the mind that these are slightly off from each other, so I always make sure I use the signature the line that this signature is going to go into. And here's where those lines matter. So you make sure these are straight. You put your line in there and make sure that line lines up. And then as much as I try to make things not move, they always do. And this is glass, so I'm definitely going to put this on top of that. So make sure everything's secure. And I always go in, I don't know, I'm going to go in like this, at an angle like that, because that way it's going to hit the center. But whatever angle you go in, be consistent. You will notice it if it's not. And you know what I didn't do? Or did I? Was I smart enough to do it? I think so. It's written top up here, so make sure that that's the top of your page. Otherwise, there will be complications. I'm telling you now. Some things are not directional, so it doesn't matter. But some things most definitely are. And one more. So I have punched the holes in that. And that's one signature. I'm going to do the rest and I'll be back. Okay, so I've done all my signatures. And I do not need to punch holes in my binder because I'm doing a hidden one. So what I need to do though, I need to mark top on this side too. Because I should have done my signatures backwards, but I didn't. Okay. So I am going, oops, yes, I did that right, okay. We want to glue this to the back of this because it's going to be hidden behind the cloth. And then that's going to be glued down to this after we sew the signatures in. And the reason we keep this is so that we have a guide to sew the signatures in. Okay, it's dried. I'm going to punch holes in this. Make sure that, yeah, but that's definitely, I can see that. I like working back to front. So these are my signatures. So I'm going to grab August. And the question is, I could do a yellow thread, I could do a green thread, pink thread. This is it's already been waxed thread, and I think I may use this thread. You're not really going to see it on the journal side. You're going to see it in the signature, in the middle of the signature. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Because since it's waxed, it's just going to be easier to pull through. And I bought this for a specific journal that I made a long time ago. I was making several that were alike. And I don't need that anymore, so I don't think I need this much. 1, 2, 3. I think it's just 3 you need. It's going up, coming back down, and then the extra to spare. Yep. You know what? Because I'm paranoid, I'm gonna pull extra out. Okay, this other thing. It's a large needle. So you can start at the bottom, you can start in the middle. It doesn't really matter, but you do start on the inside. And I think I'm going to start at the bottom on this one. So, lesson learned from prior times of doing this, clamp this down. Otherwise you're going to pull it through and you're going to get irritated. And that's no fun. So you come back through this. You want to make sure this is super tight, but I don't worry about it being super tight until I get to the top, because it's just going to float back and forth otherwise. Oops. And here's the reason you keep pages straight, which I haven't done. Sure, that's good enough. You just in and out. Kind of screwed up the signature already, I can tell. There we go. Let me go back in. I really like this fabric. Come up through this one. Yay, that one worked. We're back on track. This one's kind of weird. When we have issues, we go through one at a time till we figure out where the issue is. You gotta watch for the stuff that's in between the pages. It'll screw you up in the end. Yay. And going back down is so much easier because everything's set in place. Okay, but now's when I'm really concerned about making this tight. Okay, and then once we're sure it's tight, we come in the top, and we come back down. You really don't want to split the thread, so be careful of that, which is exactly what I think I'm doing right there. If you split the thread, you can't tighten it. And then you go back through. Oh, came through. So that looks not tight. There we go. Oh, that's not going to work. Some signatures work out so well, and other ones do not. There we go. And we make sure it's all really tight. Looks really tight. Yeah, see, I cut off way too much. Way more than I needed. But that's okay. Another thing about wax thread, it tends to hold the knot better. And that's a signature. So I'm going to do that 3 more times. And I'll come back and we'll glue it in. already cut out the pieces, so you don't have to deal with me doing that. So I was thinking of something else before, but then I came back and because I found this and I thought that was gorgeous. So I'm going to do that with, oh, hello, spring. But then that blended in too much, so I cut this out to go around it. Then I figured down here I would put the period and be sweet like honey. Okay. So I think I want that in the middle. I'm not sure. There were some other things. I just chose this one because it matched. But let me see what else I got. So these were all the things. There's this. That's smaller. That's what I'm looking at. These all came out of a packet that I will link, that I will put at the bottom. I think that's too much bling for the, there's no more gold up there. I can make gold with splatters. Okay, well, just do that for now. That's cute, that I need something where I can write on. That was cute too. Thought about that versus that, but I want to keep with the bee, because kind of have a bee theme going. So that's really it. It's either the pink, which if I did the pink, that would bring the 3 colors in. Maybe. Don't call me maybe. Maybe the black thread. I feel like I've been overdoing the black thread lately, but one thing I know for certain, we can glue this down. We get some bees every year on our front bush. We try very hard just to let them be. Let them be. I made it funny. I'll do this part tomorrow after this is dried. So we're gonna glue this down. This is the last thing I'm gonna do tonight. And then I will see you guys back here in the morning. And Okay. Pretty sure those bumblebees are in the middle of my, yep. So what I want to do, ah! Yeah, good. It's in the center. Okay, so I'm back. I went ahead and added the date. I just used a little label printer to make that, and all of that is done. I came back and I re-glued this down because I forgot when you're glue. If you do the hidden stitch, you need to not water down your PVA glue when you're gluing this to that, because you need it to be very strong. So I came back and did that without the PVA glue, and then I have my 4 signatures here, and then I came and added these little buttons, which I got off of Amazon. There's so many different, a variety, and I think for the majority of them, there's 2 for every one. Sometimes there's 3, like this one I have 3. And sometimes there's just 1. So I'm not sure how the process works, but for the majority of them, there's 2 of every one. So I can use them on my journals a lot. I'm going to get some little dangles for this, but I haven't found any yet, so I will put those on later. But that is my journal, and I hope you enjoyed it.